With the release of Season of the Witch, a brand new subfamily of elemental pickups known as elemental orbs were added via the seasonal artifact, functioning very similarly to strand tangles. This video aims to comprehensively break down exactly how these elemental orbs spawn, function, and interact with the sandbox in every possible way, plus showcasing some truly strong setups that either massively increase the damage of the orbs, letting you do stuff like this, or allow them to become literal heavy ammo printers. So to start with, how do you spawn them in? First of all, elemental orbs work on a subclass and weapon matching basis, meaning that if you want to spawn in void orbs, you must be on a void subclass and be getting void weapon kills. Properly matched weapon kills will then start progressing a hidden counter that once capped out will guarantee the spawn of an elemental orb, which is exactly how Warmind cells used to work, for those who remember. The amount of progress each type of enemy grants to this counter appears to be the same, and it's guaranteed you'll spawn an orb within 4 kills. Okay, that's all well and good, but what do they actually do? Each elemental orb has its own associated elemental verb that is applied to any enemies caught within its explosion. For Arc, this is Jolt, for Void, it is Volatile, and for Solar, it is Scorch. 40 stacks without Ember of Ashes, and 60 stacks with Ember of Ashes. Besides the elemental verbs, each orb deals the same damage of 25,615 to Carl, which as you'll see shortly, can be massively increased. The other caveat to elemental orbs is that, rather strangely, they count as weapon kills, meaning that they are able to proc on-kill related perks such as orb siphons, ammo finders, and fragment effects like from Spark of Discharge. Even more strangely, they benefit from Well of Radiance and Radiant effects, but they don't benefit from surges. As you can see here, with Radiant, I now hit Carl for 32,019, which is the expected 25% increase. Furthermore, elemental orbs also benefit from the 10% damage bonus provided by Monochromatic Maestro, hitting Carl for 28,176 as expected. This also works for both Arc and Void elemental orbs, but not for Tangles. Now on to the interesting part. First, let's talk about Artifact Synergy. Elemental Fury is one of the 3 fourth column perks boosting elemental orbs, and it states that stunned champions receive more damage from abilities and elemental orbs, and it turns out this is a massive 70% vulnerability. In a Legend Lost sector, at base this barrier champion takes 18,779 damage from my Solar Orb, and then with Elemental Fury, this goes all the way to 31,923. Next, we have Communal Pickups, which grants you a 3x surge bonus matching the elemental orb you created when a teammate picks it up. Plus, it also shaves off 5 seconds from your Tangle cooldown should you be using Strand. There isn't really too much to say about this perk since it's totally useless in solo play, though in team play it's just a nice background thing that you probably won't notice. Lastly, in column 4 we have Refreshing Pickups, which grants a very nice 33% ability energy to your least charged ability when picking up an elemental orb. Again, just a nice perk to have in the background. Now, however, we move to column 5, containing the 2 strongest elemental orb perks by far, the first of which is Elemental Munitions, which states Elemental Orb or Tangle Final Blows have a chance to spawn special or heavy ammo, and just like Elemental Orbs themselves, this is not in fact chance-based, rather counter-based. Turns out, every 4 kills with an Elemental Orb will guarantee the spawn of a Finder Brick, either heavy or special, or both. Furthermore, the 4 kills don't even have to be in rapid succession. It's quite literally every 4 individual kills, you will get a brick, which is actually very good. However, if you want the brick to spawn for your teammates as well, you need to have both a Finder and Scout mod equipped. I first heard this from G-, so credit to him for this information. Now for the real star of the show, Frenzied Stacks, the final elemental orb enhancing mod, reading as follows. Your armor charges grant bonus damage to your thrown tangles or elemental orbs. Your armor charge now decays over time. Instantly, I'm sure many people looked at this mod and turned a blind eye, simply because it constantly drains your charges. Though I'm here to argue that with the right setup, this mod is actually busted. Let me explain why. Each stack of armor charge contributes to an additional 30% damage to your elemental orbs, capping out at 180% extra damage at 6 stacks. It should be noted, however, that Whirling Maelstrom benefits differently, with a maximum 75% damage increase at 6 stacks, which has clearly been done for balancing reasons. So, taking 6 armor charges, Radiant, a debuff, and Monochromatic Maestro to the same barrier champion from earlier, this happens.
Hey, that's pretty good.
To finish off, I've created a build template you can use with any flavor of elemental orb. To summarize, the important mods are Heavy Scouts and Finders for your helmet, a siphon matching the orbs you create, 1 or 2 copies of Charged Up to benefit the most from Frenzied Stacks, and perhaps the most mandatory mod, Stacks on Stacks, which helps keep your armor charge up as often as possible by granting 2 stacks instead of 1 when picking up an Orb of Power. You may also choose to run 1 or 2 copies of Time Dilation for even more armor charge uptime, though this is not necessary. As far as the artifact goes, you will want all the associated elemental orb mods, and the rest are up to you. You essentially want to find as many ways of making orbs as possible, plus using a matching elemental weapon to generate elemental orbs. My personal recommendations for this are Zauli's Bane or Sunshot, Ikelos SMG or Trinity Ghoul, and Unforgiven or Graviton Lance for primary weapons, and for special weapons the choices are a little clearer: Dead Messenger for your exotic option, and for legendary either Forbearance, Harsh Language, or Explosive Personality. But in general, just pick a gun that matches your subclass and you're good to go with spawning elemental orbs. I hope you enjoyed this rundown on how elemental orbs function, and if you did, please consider subscribing as it helps a ton. Bye for now, dear viewer.